Hi, my name is Mia Schilling, and I am going to discuss the topic of global water scarcity. My question asks, is there enough fresh water in the world for everyone to live prosperously? My thesis states there is not enough fresh water in the world for everyone to live prosperously because the earth has very little fresh water and the water that we do have is being contaminated by pollutants. However, people can take reasonable precautions to preserve water as well as the water cycle's contribution of replenishing our waters. To begin, the earth has very little fresh water. Approximately 97.5% of the earth's water supply is salt water. Ice caps and groundwater account for about 2.5%, which leaves our earth with only 0.1% of drinking water. According to the United Nations, 884 million people in the world do not have access to clean drinking water, and by 2050, more than 2 billion people won't have access to clean water. A high demand for water with high prices will leave many less fortunate countries and continents without access to sufficient drinking water. In 2008, BBC World News stated that approximately 1.1 billion people don't have access to a sufficient water supply. A specific example from BBC News focuses on Mexico City, Mexico, stating that about 40% of their clean water is vanishing through leaky pipes, causing 1 in 4 people to not have access to clean pipe water. Also, in Sydney, Australia, it is the driest place on Earth and is causing Australia to face ecological disasters due to the lack of rainfall, rise of population, and climate changes. The United States is facing water scarcity as well, as the groundwater has been pumped way faster than the aquifers can be recharged. Water scarcity is the lack of sufficient available water resources to meet the demands of water usage within a region. Also, pollutants contaminate our waters. Around 95% of the world's cities are continuing to dump raw sewage into the very few rivers and freshwater supplies that we have. According to Joseph Wynn, no matter where in the world, when someone uses a chemical in soil, it eventually makes its way to a waterway. According to the United Nations, together, unclean water and poor sanitation are the world's second biggest killer of children. Everyone learns about the water cycle at a young age and how it works to replenish our waters. Earth's water is always in movement, and the natural water cycle describes the continuous movement of water on, above, and below the surface of Earth. Most of the water flows downhill as runoff, eventually returning to the seas as slightly salty water. The water cycle is an ongoing process that will continue to replenish our waters and will never end. Human actions can also help to conserve water. Sandra Postel says that doing more with less is the first and easiest step along the path toward water security. Turning off the water while brushing your teeth, taking shorter showers, only doing full loads of laundry and dishes all seem like simple ideas to preserve water. You can also use low-flow toilets and shower heads, gather gutter water, check faucets and pipes for leak, use less pesticides, etc. The possibilities are endless. According to my first map, the red areas show the areas with the most water scarcity in 2013. My second graph is similar, as orange shows the most water scarcity areas. However, this graph is from 2007. In my next graph, the green shows the most water-stressed areas in 2011, with greater than 2.5% of the population undernourished. My last graph shows that the red areas have the most physical water scarcity in 2011. Physical water scarcity, as opposed to economic water scarcity, is that more than 75% of the population is experiencing water withdrawals, while economic water scarcity is less than 25%. Although the graphs present it differently, they all contain very similar data showing global water scarcity. The image on the left may not seem like data, but shows how Earth is being drained of its water. The image on the right shows a group of people in Africa appearing miserable as they collect water. These next 4 images are informative as well as emotional. They show the real effects of water scarcity by carrying water jugs, contaminated water which causes illnesses, and very little water available. In conclusion, there is not enough fresh water in the world for everyone to live prosperously because the earth has very little fresh water and the water that we do have is being contaminated by pollutants. However, people can take reasonable precautions to preserve water as well as the water cycle's contribution of replenishing our waters. Water scarcity is a crisis that is most often ignored but in reality occurs everywhere. Thank you for listening.